Sage Wanderer here, and welcome to Coffee Talk! So today, we're going to ask the question, have you found your soul mate? Or are you stuck in a karmic connection? Or have you mistaken your twin flame for your soulmate? If you have no idea what I'm talking about, or all this sounds like mumbo jumbo, or you're like, yeah, I got you, Sage, I know what's up, then either way, stick with us while we talk about some of these catchphrases that we hear nowadays in our search for romance, and what they mean, where they come from. Are they biblical? Once again, Coffee Talk is for stuff I find interesting but don't necessarily believe in. So let's delve deep into the concept of a soulmate. We'll talk about where it came from, the mythology behind it, and all that will be coming your way and more. But before we go there, I would like to thank all of you who support the channel, whether it's a thumbs up, a kind comment, checking and making sure you're subscribed, because people get unsubscribed around here, and sharing of the videos. But most of all, I want to give a heartfelt thank you to all of you who support this channel financially. This channel is funded exclusively by viewers like you. Your kind contribution keeps the light on here in the cabin and keeps these videos coming your way. So thank you all from the bottom of my heart. If you would like to contribute financially to this project, you find these videos enlightening, interesting, educational, whatever, inspirational, then please go down to the links in the description, and you'll find links to my Cash App and PayPal and my post office box and email address too, so we can have a conversation if you like. All right. So, what is a soulmate? What is a twin flame? Right? What is a soul tribe? What's a soul group? Where did all of this come from? What's the history of it? Is it something we should even think about? As believers, if you're a Christian, should you not engage in any of this? Is any of it biblical? Is any of it scary or wrong or in some way occultic? Well, we'll leave it up to you to decide, and we'll just give you the information and weigh it out together. See what you think. So I think until the 1970s, most people in America had no idea what a soulmate was. They probably never heard that phrase. I know it wasn't until the hippie movement of the 60s and 70s came into this country that people started using that phrase, or having that idea that out there somewhere is a perfect match for each person, my other half. And but that statement is actually related to a biblical statement, because the Bible teaches that when two people get married and they join in union, that the two shall become one soul. So it talks about us becoming a union, becoming two halves of a whole, and maybe that's where the old saying, my better half, comes from. But the soulmate concept it goes much deeper than that, because it's not just about becoming one with someone that you love, but it's more about finding the other lost half of you. So this goes all the way back to ancient Greece and the writings of Plato, where originally, apparently, humans were male and female joined together in a four-armed, four-legged thing, right? We had four arms, we had four legs. Just use your imagination. We were joined face to face, so to speak. And then the gods thought that we were too powerful as a whole entity, and he split the human being in half. This is ancient Greek mythology, creating two beings, and in so creating a longing for your other half, a feeling of being lost, right? Searching for the other half of you, searching for your soul mate, right? And I think that in the early 20th century, theosophy and other precursors to what we call the New Age movement, they glommed on to certain concepts from the ancient teachings and the ancient world, and they combined them into a new modern kind of almost pseudo religion called the New Age. And I think that's where you start to see this coming in through the hippie movement in the 60s and 70s. And you start to see it making mainstream. And it's tied to reincarnation. The concept, as it's currently understood amongst the hip and the people that are aware of this idea, is that it's tied to reincarnation. So the idea being that we started as one soul and that we were split in half in two pieces, just like the old Greek mythology, except we are reincarnated each lifetime, and we come into each lifetime searching for our soulmate. It's kind of one of the central reasons that are central things that drive us in each reincarnation, is that we're seeking out our other half, the other half of our soul. So the idea then that there's a perfect person out there that's not just perfect for you, not just perfectly matched for you, not just a good choice, right? Not just someone you could work on something with and create a relationship, but somebody out there that is literally the other missing piece of your puzzle, the person that makes you 100% and whole. And this is permeated culture, pop culture, and romantic ideologies to the point where people, whether they use that terminology or not, seem to think that way, that out there somewhere is my perfect match. And I just have to sift through all of these almost matches before I find the other half of my puzzle piece. So many of you are aware of the soulmate ideology, that you may not be aware that it goes clear back to Greek times and the story of the Greek gods, but also that it's was adopted and kind of mixed with Buddhism and mixed with reincarnation, so that we try to find our soulmate life after life. And if we're lucky, we'll find them. If we can make it work and we can become joined, maybe we'll keep finding each other lifetime after lifetime, and we get to spend eternity together in this way, and reach enlightenment together, supposedly, and can advance then to the next realm, the next world, the next reality, when we reach enlightenment together. Then another version of this is called the twin flame. Now, as it's modern, the modern practice of this, it's talked about a lot in astrology and in tarot reading and any kind of psychic endeavor, that you might have a person that's in your world or in your life that's not your soulmate, but your twin flame. Once again, it's the same kind of concept, but some of the parameters are different in this interpretation of the soulmate idea. In a twin flame connection, once again, you were both one, and then you were split into two, like a twin, split into spiritual level. And both of you then, rather than trying to find your soulmate and reconnect and make yourself whole again, you're experiencing this lifetime after lifetime, connected but not joined. So you're both having a different experience but parallel. So let's say if I'm having a great lifetime and I'm progressing spiritually and I'm growing as a human and I'm getting closer to enlightenment, but over here my twin flame's not doing so good. Maybe they're still struggling with the same old demons. They're still fighting the same old addictions. They're still having the same old doubts. They're not growing. That I'll reach a point where I can't progress because I'm psychically linked to this twin flame. I have to find this twin flame and elevate them, bring them up and catch them up before I'm allowed to go to the next level. I have to bring them with me because we're psychically linked. Where soulmates, the goal is to get together, stay together, and be together lifetime after lifetime. The twin flame experience is more about finding your twin flame when necessary, elevating them, but still keeping apart. Twin flames never end up together, is the saying. So now there's another concept called your soul tribe. Once again, this is a mixture of ancient ideas and mixed with Buddhism and Hinduism and reincarnation. And the concept here is that we started out as one entity, and we split into a soulmate and then those into twin flames, and then those into soul groups, right? That there are other people that keep reincarnating alongside us and in our energy, in our circle of friends, so to speak. So in one life, my soul tribe member might be my father. In the next life, he might be my son. In the next one, he might be my boss. In the next one, he might be my brother, right? Or my sister, he or she. They apparently gender, you can be multiple different genders. That's for another talk about reincarnation. But I find it interesting that kind of the hippies of the 60s and 70s kind of brought this together into the mainstream, and now it permeates our pop culture. And you know, you've probably heard people reference their soulmate. When you find somebody and you really connect with them and you really like them, rather than saying, I think this is a good match, you might say, I think I found my soulmate. When you feel magnetically drawn to somebody, but they're not good for you, right? Then you might say, this is a twin flame. This is not my soulmate. This is a twin flame connection. Or you might find a group of people that you jive so well together. You're a group of friends and you're like, we have to be a soul tribe. We must have been through this in the past life, right? And some people even go as far as remembering people from their past lives. Oh, that's right. We were Knights Templars together, and we fought in the Holy Land, side by side, knights, brothers in arms, right? They're like, I remember you. You know, it. I think if you, well, I'm, I'm not going to talk about how the use of certain substances might help you remember. It sounds kind of absurd, right? But at the same time, you can't deny that there are people that you just connect with. There are people that, you know, you feel like you've known them your whole life. This is one explanation for such a thing. And it's one that I don't easily dismiss. I mean, have you ever met somebody and you're just like, you're like my brother from another mother? Like you and I feel a closer connection to you than I do my own family, right? So there's this whole idea of these soul tribes, or soulmates now can be friends as well. You can have more than one soulmate. You can have a lot of soulmates. And I think the whole thing is kind of getting confused and souped together. That's why I want to take a moment and kind of separate it out and show you the difference. Like a soulmate is supposed to be the other half of you, but then a twin flame is too. But then a soul tribe is as well, like your soul group. You keep reincarnating lifetime after lifetime. And but is this biblical? What does the Bible have to say about relationships? And I think one of the things that makes this kind of idea or philosophy or theory popular, even amongst Christians, is that the Bible is woefully underrepresented when it comes to relationships. I think most people would say that romantic relationships and personal relationships are one of the biggest parts of their life. It dominates so much of their thinking and their thought life. And the Bible is insufficient, honestly, to address the interest that people have in this topic. From a biblical perspective, if you understand the history, back in Bible days, right, relationships and marriages were arranged. Like your family had their own reasons for pairing you with somebody else, and then you were just supposed to make it work. The idea of matchmaking, as we know it, is rather modern, and it's not so much modern as it's Roman. It's specifically Roman. That in Rome, the idea of romance from Rome, the idea of love in general being the reason that you pick somebody to spend your life with because you love them, and connecting and dating and all this comes from Rome. Because in the rest of the world, women were property. I hate to say that. It sounds so awful in this modern times, but they were. And they were married off for strategic reasons, to bond families, to put groups together, to potentially even prevent wars or to cement alliances between nations. And this is something that survived into modern times to some degree or another. But always there was the Roman concept that a woman in Rome is a citizen and she has the right to choose who she wants to be with. and she has the right to own property. And everything we know about modern feminism and the way the world runs today versus how it was run even 100 years ago, it can be all traced back to Rome. It's not Christian. Monogamy is not Christian, right? It's Roman. And so if it seems Christian, it's just because Rome influenced Christianity so much. The ancient Bible is full of polygamy. Polygamy, one man, multiple wives. That's the way it is described in the Bible. The way relationships were back then. The women were often seen as nothing more than property, a feather in your cap, right? And so the modern idea of monogamy and romance and all of that really comes from the Roman Empire and its effect on Christianity and the world in general. Until now, you have this modern pseudo-Christian world where monogamy is seen as the normal, as they. A lot of people argue that polygamy is against the Bible, but it's not. It's like it's all through the Bible, and the only restriction you have is on bishops, and that's New Testament. That's Paul, where he says, I believe it's Paul, it says that a bishop should be the husband of just one wife, right? But that's it. That's the only argument for monogamy when the Bible is full of polygamy. Just saying, not trying to start a fight here, but the whole concept of love being the main reason you marry for, compatibility being the main reason you marry for, to raise a family together, all of that is very much Roman and not necessarily biblical. And honestly, the New Testament is kind of anti-marriage, if you want to know the truth. Paul says he wishes you'd remain single. But if you can't, right, if you don't have the ability, like if that's beyond your ability to live that solitary, presumably, what's the word I'm looking for? Celibate life, then you should get married, right? That's what Paul says. But as far as the idea of romanticizing the man-woman relationship, the closest we've got is the Song of Solomon, which is a book, a lot of it about love. You got the story of Solomon and was it? She's from Egypt. Solomon and Beersheba? I don't remember. But you also have the story of David who has a man killed so he can steal his wife, right? And the karmic backlash that comes against him, the payback that he gets for that grievous sin. And you got the story of Ruth. There's a lot of romantic stories in the Bible, but none of them seem to suggest that God is particularly concerned with our love life, right? He's not particularly concerned with our romantic connections. And so because there is that void in biblical ideas and biblical teaching, since the Bible and Christianity and to a lesser degree even Judaism is about personal spiritual growth and your relationship with the divine, and it just has this glaring hole in it, which is a part of human existence, which is our romantic lives, our pairing, our search for the other half of ourselves, right? That we all feel like there's somebody out there for us that would make us happy and us make them happy, and we could have a happy life together. And that discussion is so just not really part of Christianity. Christianity is like a solo trip between you and God. And so I think that hole that's there makes it easy for people to go to other religious and spiritual ideas like New Age and Buddhism and the tarot reading and stuff like that to look for your connection, to find some kind of guidance. A funny story one of my preacher friends used to tell is that he was so convinced that Jesus was coming back, that they were in the end times, and this was 25 years ago, 25, 30 years ago. And he was so convinced of that, and he was preaching about it. And on the way home from church, his daughter says, "I hope Jesus doesn't come back." And he says, "What? What did you just say?" Right? "I hope Jesus doesn't come back in my lifetime." "Why would you say that? Why would you?" He was like almost blasphemous. And she says, because I want to get married and fall in love. I want to fall in love and get married and have kids and have a life and do all the things in this life that this life has to offer. And it made him reassess his whole concept of preaching. It made him realize that, the search for the one that you love is such a part of the human existence that it almost is more prevalent than your desire to make it to heaven, right? That some people would almost sell their soul for that love connection. And so it changed the way he preached. He started preaching about relationships. He started preaching about compatibility. He started preaching about how to make things work, how to find the right mate, how to not be tricked into what we would call nowadays a karmic connection. Don't. What's a karmic connection? You're throwing all this new stuff at me saying, what? How am I supposed to keep up? So a karmic connection, according to the same kind of new age philosophy, is a situation where you have something to learn in this life. And a karmic connection is someone who comes along and makes you think they're your soulmate, or makes you think they're your twin flame, makes you think they're part of your soul tribe, when really they're a lesson. They're here to teach you a lesson about love. I'm going to give you a lesson in leaving. Somebody's going to give you a lesson in leaving. Somebody's going to give out what you've been given. And I hope that I'm around to watch them knock you down. That's the 70s song. So a lot of people in this world will get into a relationship. And if it turns bad, it turns what they call toxic. They'll think this is a karmic connection, and I'm supposed to learn a lesson from this. I'm supposed to know what it's like to be cheated on, since I must have cheated on somebody else in a past life. So the modern world of dating is filled with these philosophical ideas that are definitely not necessarily Christian in nature, but yet they affect us all. You might have been called a karmic. If you do something somebody doesn't like, then you're a karmic. If you do something they like, then you're their soulmate, right? Is any of it true? Did you find your soulmate? Do you believe that there is a perfect match out there for someone else? Or do you believe it's love is what you make it? That the effort you put into something, that you make things work. You contribute to the relationship. You compromise with each other until you can find common ground. Or do you believe you just keep swiping left until you find somebody who's your soulmate? And do you think you had a soulmate and connected with them and lost them? Or were they your karmic, or potentially your twin flame? Tell me what you think about all of this philosophical ideology when it comes to love and relationships in the comments section below. Tell me, who knows, maybe I'm your soulmate. Don't. I don't know. I don't know. I ain't so sure. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Are we part of a soul tribe together? Is there only one life? And if there is, what's the reason for it? All this and more when you tune into Coffee Talk. You never know what we're going to talk about. But we'll see you next time on Coffee Talk. Hey, don't forget to support the channel.